Man sues after his face is mauled by emotional support dog on Delta Airlines flight.
They should put emotional support dog in quotes for this fucking dog, dude.
Emotional support
So how
dog.
long is it until they crack down on this shit?
They
already have.
It's already starting.
Because of this, actually.
Right.
A man who was allegedly attacked by an emotional support dog on Delta Airlines flight has filed a lawsuit against the airline and the owner of the animal. Marlon Jackson has accused both Delta and Ronald Kevin Mundy Jr., a U.S. veteran, of negligence after he was attacked while the flight was boarding in June 2017. Mr. Jackson was seated in a window seat while the dog was next to him on the veteran's lap, according to the lawsuit. The dog then attacked Mr. Jackson, leaving his face permanently scarred. According to the complaint, Mr. Jackson bled so profusely that the entire row of seats had to be removed from the plane. The attack was briefly interrupted when the animal was pulled away from Mr. Jackson. However, the animal broke free and again mauled Mr. Jackson's face. The lawsuit continued. The lawsuit also said Delta didn't verify the dog was trained or had met the requirements of a service animal. A police report stated the Marine Corps veteran's dog was a chocolate lab pointer mix. Airlines later made changes to policies for emotional support animals following the attack, which drew national headlines in 2017.
Well, here's the problem with these things. Like a service animal is different than an emotional support dog. That's number one. Number two is that it's actually against the law I'm pretty sure to actually ask what the disability is of the person. You can't just go and say, oh, that's bullshit. You can't. So it's like the rules are stacked. So people have basically exploited rules that are in place to help people with legitimate needs. Like
there just needs to be rigorous testing for
and there's
of the dog for temperament and training and
emotional
obvious
support animals don't have to have that training though. That's the fucking loophole.
Well, that needs
service
to be.
Animals do. That's why a service animal would never do this. A well-trained service animal would not do this unless
they're
that
socialized.
Unless they're attacking their owner. That'd be about it.
Mr. Jackson has continued to endure severe physical pain and suffering, according to the lawsuit, amid substantial medical bills and an apparent loss of income and earning potential. The lawsuit goes on to note that Mr. Jackson's entire lifestyle has been severely impacted by this attack. Mr. Jackson was reportedly traveling from Atlanta to San Diego when the attack occurred.
He's going to get a big payday on this one.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this dog should never have been on board the flight.
The fact that he's able to sue the airline...
I disagree because I think you should just be able to take dogs on flights, but...
No, you shouldn't. This is exactly why.
Yeah, TJ, that's insane.
I don't
why
so.
do you think? Well, here's the thing.
You don't think so?
No.
The dog is put into a confined space, and these dogs have to be trained for fucking years, dude, to be able to do that and handle that. Now, look, there's some dogs where it's like
I heard. Well, the reason I think is because I've talked to someone. I was mentioning how when we put our animals through on the flight on the underside or whatever,
it's horrible.
Nova, was practically like you could just tell like she was on fucking death's door. She was like freezing ass cold, basically like gone into like a hibernation state, and the dogs were clearly miserable. And I talked to someone who actually works for the airlines is like, never fucking put your dog through that shit. Just get an emotional support thing and bring them on the fucking plane. Because it's just it's inhumane conditions under there.
Right.
So that's why I think they should just be allowed on the plane. And if your dog is gonna maul somebody, then put it. I don't know. Get it a muzzle or something.
I mean,
I guess.
I think the solution would be,
or at least let them bring the cages in the cabin. Which is climate controlled.
Well,
and
just get like maybe a back section of the plane or something. You can have X number of animals. Or
right,
something.
but they don't want to do that because they could just charge you for it like they do everything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just charge people more money.
Just have kennels in the back. You can have them behind a soundproof fucking door or something, so their barks and shit don't. Not that the airlines really give a shit because they let screaming babies on all the fucking time. Whatever.
Here's my fucking solution to all of this. The airline industry is woefully under-equipped for a population of as diverse as ours, with the diverse needs as ours do, to have comfortable ways for people to fly. So I advocate for a number of different kinds of airlines operating simultaneously throughout the United States. A kinder airline where if you've got a child under the age of, let's say, fucking 15 or whatever the fuck, you have to fly that airline, and it's everybody else gets to be with all the kids and shit. So if you got kids, you get on an airline with a bunch of other kids.
So you got to get on that horrible nightmare flight.
Oh, damn.
If you got pets, we could have like a Bowser Air or whatever the fuck. Where if you want to live in this fucking weird jungle of people's overly aggressive dogs and your dog all mixed together on the goddamn plane, then go fly on it.
I think it would...
And then a normal air for like just everybody else. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And there's also
not bringing a pet,
not a fat airline.
Not bringing a child. Oh yeah,
Fuck yes, dude.
Tubbo Air. Hell yeah, dude. I'm
people who
down
don't-
for that.
For people who don't quite fit in the seat,
Yeah.
you gotta fly Tubbo Air. Dude.
Yeah.
Bigger seats, though.
It's like a cargo plane they put you in.
Yeah, I don't know if this is actually feasible, but
It's
it would
feasible.
be better.
No, it's totally feasible. It's just very, very unlikely. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
feasible. We could do it.
I mean, I don't. The problem is, I don't know how you do it in low population areas where I don't think there'd be enough demand for that sort of like differentiation in flights. But maybe I don't know.
Well, also, I mean, another point would be just high-speed rail, giving people different options.
Right, because
to
if you had
travel.
that, then everyone could. If you had a dog, it'd just be like, oh well, you got to get your own compartment, and it has to be in there, and then you could just do that.
Just create another one that's called Emergency Air or some shit, where
Yeah.
it's like, if you're out there and you got a kid or whatever, and you've got, a death in the family and you got to fly, there's always an emergency airplane at every airport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if this level of customization is possible.
It's
but
possible.
It sounds cool.
It's
so
possible.
It's
I'm telling you, it's fucking possible.
Possible. Paul's done the research. He
I've
knows.
done the research. I've looked into the ins and outs of this, and I'm telling you, it could be pulled off.
All right, well, let's do it. It kind of reminds me of Penn Jillette. I used to listen to his radio show back in the day, and he wanted to do something called like Bacon and a Kiss Airlines, and basically to screen out Muslim radicals, you just had to eat a piece of bacon and give a kiss to someone of the same gender to prove that you're not a fucking terrorist.
Oh, I see.
And then you just get on the plane, and there's no other security. So that's it. I don't know if that would work because I think Muslims are allowed to drink alcohol and do stuff like that if it helps them like blend in.
Yeah,
with
deceive the
thing,
non-believers.
deceive
If
the
they
non-believers.
weren't, they would
The
be very
terrorists, anyway.
unsuccessful.
Yes, because